So the last topic I want to cover for exponents to get us back up to speed before we get into some other algebra components is an exponent raised to an exponent. And what do I mean? Let's take a look. 2 to the third squared. What does this mean? How do we deal with this? This is not unlike anything else in mathematics. Once we learn a skill, the rules don't change. This is one of the things I love. So what does that mean? Well, if we had just plain old 5 squared, as we've seen before, that just means we would have 1 times 5 times 5. So let's go back up here and use that skill. This means we have something inside the parentheses, some component, squared. So that means it would just simply be 1 times 2 to the third times 2 to the third. It's the same thing. And then when we multiply our exponents, what do we do with these guys? These things get added together. It's the same thing as saying 2 to the 6. And if we break out our calculator and we multiply it through, or we remember that 2 to the third is 8 times 8, 64. 2 to the 6 in our calculator should get 64. Let's practice this a couple more times. Let's use our good old friend, a variable here. How about x to the 5th, all raised to the third power? It's simply 1 times x to the 5th times x to the 5th times x to the 5th. And we can add all these exponents up or just multiply these together. X to the 5 times 3 is the same thing as x to the 15th power. There's a few other things I wanted to cover for our class before we move on to actually Chapter 1, where this is the review chapter. There's a few little key steps I want to make sure we get. One of them is this one here. Let's make sure we get this down as well. One more thing. Let's see here. What happens if this is to the negative 2 power? What does that mean for us? Well, we can still say we can multiply these exponents just like we've done before. It's x to the negative 8 now. And often probably you're going to run into my math lab's going to want you to simplify this so that there are no negative exponents. So this is the answer you're going to be looking for in the My Math Lab assignments. Let's see, some other quick little topics to finish up everything here is, let's see, lastly, I want to highlight something here. There's a big difference. Oops, that's not the color I wanted. There's a big difference between something like this versus negative 10 squared. We have to be very careful with our negative signs. So, for example, or what I'm talking about is this first piece here is saying I'm going to square negative 10. So that means it's going to be 1 times negative 10 times negative 10. And while this one is saying I'm going to take the negative or the opposite of 1 times 10 squared. Okay, two different answers. On the surface, they're going to look very similar if we're not careful. We need to pay attention to some of our grouping symbols. The parentheses here is saying all of the stuff inside is being affected by this exponent. Whereas for this one here, we're going to do the exponent and then deal with the negative. So just to finish this up, this would actually be on two negatives multiplied together. You need to remember, gives us a positive. All right, so this is going to be actually 100 here, where this one is going to be negative 100. Okay, hope this helps. We'll be putting some other PowerPoints up as well on the homework assignments, or the Canvas page rather. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to send me an email.